So Sabah, the other day, my grandmother thinks I'm nuts. Okay, so the other day I was sitting there and it's mango season, and my family is really big on mangoes, like intense. And I have always, I mean, yeah, but like I've always never touched them, and stop making faces. Everyone, that's their reaction. And the reason I don't have them is because my reasoning is that every time I take even a bite, pimple. Yeah, every time.
This bad boy right here.
It's like it's default. Like the minute I sniff one, also a pimple pops up, and no one in my family believes me.
You know, I don't even know if I fully believe it, because this guy, yes, it's here and it's taking a lot of real estate on my face, but I eat mangoes like you would not believe. If there's a peti anywhere near me, it's empty, and then my skin's still okay.
It might just be a me problem, but
Or it's a myth.
And we actually have the perfect person to talk about it with us today.
Please welcome to the pod,
Dr. Maleeha!
Hi guys.
So please tell me, am I crazy?
So you're not entirely crazy.
See?
Let me tell you that, guys.
Nani,
so,
are you
yes.
listening?
So guys, Elhaam's family, please, she's not crazy.
Thank you.
So this is partially true and I would say partially false. Well, again, as Sabah mentioned, maybe it's a you problem. So it's like a you thing also. If you want to go into the science of it and be like very sciencey, mangoes have high glycemic index, which basically means that they spike your blood sugar, which makes sense because they're meetha. So that, you know, then starts like this whole cascade of what eventually happens is your sebaceous glands get activated and you end up getting acne. Doesn't happen with everybody, but yes, mangoes can cause acne. That's why that's how they cause it. So it's not entirely.
She started by saying I'm not crazy.
Yeah, but I called you a loser because sucks to suck.
So yeah, so some people who break out after eating mangoes, it will happen regardless of what breed of mangoes you have, how much thanda doodh or pani you have after mangoes, because I'm sure you've heard that.
Yeah.
You wash it down with thanda pani and thanda doodh. I mean, that will happen regardless. So yeah, not entirely
I'm so
crazy.
glad we have an expert here today.
So, Dr. Maleeha,
Yes.
tell us a bit about you and why you are an expert.
Okay. So my name is Dr. Maleeha Jawaid. I am a practicing consultant dermatologist and aesthetics physician. I am based here in Karachi, and I see patients with all of their skin, hair, nail problems, from really serious clinical issues down to like some really fun aesthetic issues as well. So that's what I do. I do a bit of like skin influencing situation as well on Instagram.
A bit.
A bit.
A bit of
Just
that.
a little bit.
Very successfully,
And so that's what I do, and that's why I believe I'm here also.
So I always say this, that I get to meet all these cool, really, really cool people through this podcast because I'm not like Sabah. I'm not that social, and I don't get to meet a lot of like models and influencers. And so I'm really excited about this particular episode because I, again, know nothing about clearly really bad with skincare. Don't know too much about it. Was blessed as a kid growing up because I never had to do a lot, but now as I grow older I started doing a lot more. You do a lot of like you said, social media, right? You talk to your followers quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I
like
do. I really enjoy that actually. I think that's probably one of my favorite things on Instagram, is interacting with people that follow me and like, you know, replying to their messages. I'm pretty bad with comments and stuff, but like in my inbox, I have like a fun conversation.
And you do ask me anything and things
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
that.
love doing that. I
And
love doing that.
So it's Clear Skin by Maleeha, by Dr. Maleeha.
No, in your face, family.
In your face,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's right here on the screen.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that it's right
So
here.
in
Right
your
here, guys.
face, also fantastic handle for that.
Yeah, my mom was not very happy. She's like, "Ye kya naam hai iska?" And I was like, "Mom, you don't get it. It's like in your face. Ye kya naam hai to badtameezi?" And I'm like, "It's not badtameezi." How is it badtameezi? But yeah, so now I've just become in your. So I keep thinking, should I just change it to Dr. Maleeha Jawaid and be more serious?
I love the in your
there you
face.
When
go.
did you start?
This is when I was in Cardiff doing my master's in dermatology, and the reason I started was because I knew when I was going to come back, there's so many dermatologists here. It is insane right now. It's like this epidemic of dermatologists and aestheticians, qualified, not qualified, another debate for I
We're
think.
going to get into that.
We're going to get into that, hopefully. So I knew I had to do something. And I loved makeup back then, not so much anymore, like I can't be bothered with it. So I started with actually makeup and like skincare and stuff.
From a very young age?
Makeup.
Or was it something that you were always into, like
No,
growing
I
up?
really wasn't. I never. So I mean, it's really funny. I was never meant to be a dermatologist either. I was always meant to be a dentist, and then I became a doctor. Then I was meant to be a gynecologist. Then I became a dermatologist.
That's quite a journey.
It's quite a journey. It's quite funny.
I was going
But-
to go to med school, and I'm
Yeah.
now a radio show. So my parents, super proud. Yeah.
So makeup, yes, I was always fond of, and I thought I'd just talk about like makeup and skincare. So I started from there, and then now it's become more of like an infotainment situation where there's information about skin and hair and stuff, and like just like
Which
fun
is the
stuff
best
about
way
my
to
life.
learn it,
Yeah.
in all seriousness. I mean,
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
people run away from doctors sitting there and using their doctor terms and explaining things. And we talk about this quite often, where you tend to alienate a lot of people who feel dumb because they don't understand the
Yeah.
terms.
And it's very intimidating also.
Yeah, and I feel like social media has really helped with that, right? Like it's broken all those barriers. You don't have
Yeah.
to sit in a clinic and talk to a doctor. You can also be way more approachable
Yes.
online.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
an accessibility to it. So one of my things when I started making content was I was a little bit of a skincare girly, not on purpose. I didn't like go with that as my mentality, but because I had gotten very into skincare,
Yeah.
I had no friends. So like
Yeah.
I had to get into something when I moved to Pakistan. And I was like 24, 25, I feel like is when you're like aging and like
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And so people would comment and be like, wait, what's your skin routine? What's your skin routine? And I'm just bontohing, telling everyone this is
Yeah.
what I do, this is what you should do, da da da. Until I burnt my skin barrier.
That's
because
right.
I was influenced by an influencer to
Yeah.
buy that Egyptian clay mask. Sorry, I'm gonna name you
Oh.
Egyptian clay mask. And I thought, I'm such a skin girly. It says 15 minutes for the advanced people, so I'm gonna leave it on for 15 minutes, and it's essentially a clay mask, refines your pores, whatever the truth is in there. And when I took it off and I put on my moisturizer,
Oh,
it was
goodness.
like
So
fire.
like
You know when you
fire.
have a cut and salt touches it?
Yeah.
But my whole face.
Yeah.
And the point of this anecdote is I was stunned. I was
Yeah.
put in my place, and I was like, going forward, I need to who am I listening to and
Yeah.
why? So
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this topic into it today is like why, like what is the importance of knowing who your skin influencer is or
Yeah.
where this information is coming from?
So thing with this is that this has become a very common problem. I mean, people burning their skin. I mean, I have people coming in. I mean, just the other day I had somebody come in, burnt her entire skin because of maine ye lagaya, wo lagaya, because oh my sister used it and somebody told her, typical situation.
yeah.
Ghar mein ye pada tha, laga liya type. Problem is, I feel social media has given a lot of people a lot of liberty to say whatever, do whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many brands coming up. You give somebody money to endorse a brand. Unfortunately, not everybody has the same level of ethics that you'd expect. So
Absolutely.
they'll just go ahead and do it. They probably won't even test it on themselves and they'll do it. I have people messaging me कि oh हमें इस brand ने approach किया कि हम use कर लें. And I'm like, okay, sure, use it, but please be honest about it. And a few days, literally 3 days later, I see a sponsored post coming out by that same influencer. And I'm like, you asked me 3 days ago. And you are saying, I've been using this for 3 months now. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I mean, and and then I feel kind of wrong calling them out with the influencer community, and I'm just like, I mean, I could and I should, but but it's wrong.
But it's the scary part of social
It's a
media,
very
right?
scary
And it's
situation.
tough because, I mean, I say this as someone who earns money online. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you're early days, you don't want to say no to a brand.
Exactly. You don't say no to anybody
Yeah,
then.
and you also feel like you can't because
Yes.
you tell one brand no. And honestly, how many PR companies do we have?
Yeah.
They're representing multiple beauty
Yeah,
brands.
yeah.
They might come for you and say
Yeah.
no. And so actually me and a couple of my friends, but again, we've been at this for a while. So
Yeah.
me saying no doesn't feel as scary anymore.
Yeah.
But I tell brands flat out, like, you got to give me like a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta
give you
play
enough
around
time.
with this.
Yeah.
And then I don't accept PR until they tell me like, what is this for? Because
Yes.
one time this
Yeah.
brand sent me all this stuff for oily skin. I literally start any video I make with like, I am an ashy Sahara desert. Like
Yeah.
my whole thing is moisture. Oh, you over here sending
Yeah.
me drying products?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I told them I'm sorry, but like there's
Yeah.
no way I can post this because I'd be lying.
Yeah.
You know?
But the
Yeah.
thing is, you are a little bit more informed about your skin.
Yes.
Someone like me
Yes.
who knows nothing and probably has never really properly researched. I mean, the kind of stuff that I'll go through my Instagram and I'll find all these influencers talking about this for this type skin type, that skin type. I'm the kind of person who has never really, because I was never into it, I never really got like understood what it means to use what product for what skin type. I have friends who tell me. I have friends who have done the research. Yeah, Sabah literally 10 minutes ago in the makeup room, like, what are you doing with your skin? And I'm just, I'm so sorry, I'm not doing anything.
How you know you're my actual friend is I'll look at you. You think we're just having a normal conversation, then I'll lean in and I'll be like, so did you moisturize this morning? I always catch my sister to it. I'm like, you didn't do it.
You didn't do it. I can tell.
So I need people like that to call me out on it. And I'm also the type who will not always actively go to a dermatologist. There are a lot of people like that. Because
if you don't need it, then you don't need it.
No, just it's kind of daunting. Unless I have a problem, I'll go. And a lot of people are like that. They don't think that it's supposed to be a part of their routine, or they're supposed to go and get that help to work. Like just basic things like healthy skin. You don't have to only go for aesthetic purposes or whatever, but just keeping your skin healthy, because it is an organ, right? So there's a lot of people like online, especially I see all these women asking questions. I feel like social media has kind of helped also, so that they can actually ask those questions, because who would they ask before?
No, it's helped for sure. I mean, it's given, that's the thing, right? It's accessibility. Like I have people sitting in the different parts of, not Karachi, like different parts of the country, or even out of Pakistan for that matter, and they will ask a question when they're really confused, hum ye le, wo le. But my only concern over here, so I'm not saying I'm the only one who knows all of this, but yes, I do have some more knowledge than somebody who's not a dermatologist, right? So there are certain products that can be used for a certain purpose. There are certain formulations that need to be used for a certain purpose. Problem is like niacinamide, for example, became this really popular ingredient, which I personally call jack of all trades, master of none. That's my personal opinion on it. And now there's this new thing going around, are you over the niacinamide craze? Because it's not anything out of this world. Like it's not one of those products that you'd be like, oh my god, I absolutely need it. Just because some people benefited from it because they didn't have any harm. That's what I told somebody just today in the clinic, कि नुकसान कोई नहीं हो रहा था इससे, but फायदा भी was okay, like, 50-50.
I mean, I used it. I felt no difference.
Right? But there was no harm either, right?
There was no harm.
So, which is why it became like a really popular thing. And then like everybody started talking about it. But I feel nobody really knew the science behind it. And then people don't look into proper research papers. Like just yesterday, not yesterday, like sometime last week, somebody had come in, some skin influencer type situation. And I wrote down like this whole research art, like this website, like PubMed, where we have all our research papers and stuff. And I wrote that down I said, just write any ingredient and write PubMed in front of it. So an actual scientific evidence-backed research paper will show up about it, right? Or whatever's available on the internet for it. Read that. Don't read Reddit. Don't read these Google searches. Don't read what XYZ said or whatever.
And Instagram captions.
Or Instagram captions. Exactly. I mean, I'm sure 90% of them might be accurate. Honestly, I'm not saying that they're all wrong.
So you write it down and then you write PubMed.
Yeah, so like PubMed is
hot
basically...
tip, because
I was like, hold on, one sec.
Yeah, this is why I'm doing this podcast. I'm learning things, okay?
I was very into niacinamide. But see, my thing was I had researched like a math
there you
person.
go, so you understand it, right? You understand
so
it.
So what I explained to people, because I was working not with my aging skin, but like I got my mother into skincare. My sister's 2 years older than me, like, and I was being gentle in the makeup room, but them I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And like I was very strict.
That was you being gentle.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I literally was like, I'm gonna touch your face now. But niacinamide, I was like, this is just, if you're looking for hydration, if you're looking for a certain thing, but I also feel that way, shocking, about like hyaluronic acid is I'm like, people go nuts, but I'm like, guys, it's not your fixer. Like, oh, sorry, I'm spitting all over the place. But kind of, I want to bring it to this. So, because Elhaam, you brought up a good point, and all, we have talked about like dermatologists could be a little. People think that agar there's no dana, then I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
So that made me think, like, how often are you telling people about sunblock in Pakistan? Sorry, it just brought me to because I feel like Pakistanis are like, I'm brown.
Yeah.
I don't need sunblock.
Yeah, we have that extra protection. No, sunblock is something I feel that's part of every prescription. That's part of every prescription. But I'll actually come back to what you said, and again what you said. So if you don't have a dana, if you don't have a problem, you still need to go for like healthy skin and stuff. But I feel people overdo that as well. So I'll have people come in with like flawless skin, and they'll be like, nahi, bas ye ek nishan ya ek line or something. And like it's really difficult trying to explain to people, we're brown skin. There are certain pigmentary demarcation lines, like lines that the contour lines that we get naturally. That's not pigment, the lines over here, exactly. She's done her research, man. She knows it. you know, the lines over here that you get around your forehead, the lines on your cheeks, the lines around your mouth. There's this, if you notice, there's a demarcation between the front of your arm and the back of your arm. There's brown and like slightly lighter in color. These are brown skin, not problem. This is how we are. This is what we are.
Markers, I would say.
And these are called demarcation lines. These are racial demarcation lines.
Right.
So we're born with this.
Be proud of it.
It's our ancestors.
Yeah,
guys.
and you can't fix it. That's the
No.
problem, right? So sometimes people come in trying to fix things that you can't fix. So like stop. So my only message to everybody would be stop trying to fix everything. So there are things which don't need to be fixed, should just be left as is. Like
It
healthy
is
skin, yes,
refreshing
but don't fix everything.
to
please.
hear someone who's a professional say things like this, because I also feel like there's another trend that's going around, which is, you know, I want to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I followed this celebrity.
Yeah.
I want to look just like them.
Yeah.
And then you have like these, but what's scary is you have like 13, 14-year-old girls coming
Yeah.
in and they're like, oh, I want to get this construction done, and I want to reconstruct my whole face, and I want to look just like Kylie Jenner.
I'm 30.
I'm gonna say it.
People
How many people have asked you to look like Kylie Jenner?
So the Kylie Jenner trend was back when I was in Cardiff. So I mean that's like a white people thing. So I think we know we can't look like Kylie Jenner. Okay, so we've
a lot
accepted
of
that.
those features
We're like
come from
we want to
our
be
part
like
of the world.
Deepika type situation. They'll
Oh,
bring
wow,
in those
okay.
pictures. But like Kylie Jenner's not been a problem here. But people bring in, so you know, Paris
surprised to hear
filter,
that.
Paris filter on Instagram.
Yeah.
So people bring in pictures saying ye shakal, ye skin chahiye, and I'm just like, guys, just stick to Instagram. I'm like, just keep swiping on your face. That's what you can get. But you can't become what's on camera.
fascinating.
So this is young people coming in, by the way, and they bring in pictures. They show me pictures. I'm like, ye picture kaise aayi hai? Paris filter. And I'm like, yahi karte raho. Your prescription says Paris filter, guys, go home. That's what you can do.
It's interesting because I used to have cystic acne. I actually have an outbreak right now. I keep pointing at it because I'm pissed about it, but I have a lot of acne scars. So I used to work in this almost like a med spa when I was in university. I managed a front desk. That's how I got my money. But that's also another reason why I got so into skin and I got a facial once, my first facial. I was so excited. And I was like, she's going to close these pores up for me. And she was like, oh, you sweet angel. She was like, these are scars all over your face. And then I got a laundry list. Ye kar lo, wo kar lo. Like, and I don't know, people say it to me a lot that whenever I go to dermatologists, they're like, you know, if we could do a couple treatments and these will be gone. I weirdly am like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with living that this happened to me. I don't think I focus on it as much. And it's just kind of part of my story. I have keloids because I'm South Asian. Sometimes that happens. And I'm like, I can't slice and dice every part of me. You know?
No, but people want to.
They do.
People
I
want
wanted to talk to you about fillers and Botox. Now, trust me, I'm full in support of Botox, and I will shoot this face up as soon as my dermatologist gives me the go-ahead. But what are the trends you've been seeing with that?
I mean, the trends from what I've seen over the past 7 years of working now, that the age group for this has shifted from, so, you know, like mid-30s, late 30s to now like late 20s.
Yeah.
So luckily it's not entered early 20s or mid-20s yet, but my youngest patients, I would say, are like 26, 27, who I've had a very hard time convincing, bhai nahi karo, you don't need it. You don't need it.
A lot of dermatologists don't say no.
Money. I mean,
that's
fair.
why I trust mine. She laughed me out of her.
Yeah, we just spoke about
If
that.
you say no, then they're like, oh, you know, they said no to me, so I'll go to like the next person. But like, isn't it like ethically right to like, if you think that
nobody wants to hear a no, right? That's the problem. Like just 2 weeks ago, it's so funny. So I'm on the 4th floor and there's another doctor who sits on the 3rd floor. This patient came in with her mom and wo ye karna hai, wo karna hai. And I kept saying no to everything because that patient didn't need it. And what she needed was, she needed something, they don't want to do that, they want to get into other stuff. And I was like, okay, theek hai, they're gone. I mean, they didn't seem sad or upset or angry at me, but they seemed okay. And like 10 minutes later, I go downstairs and they're sitting with the other doctor. And I'm just like, brilliant. Like, I mean, I wasn't offended, but I was just like, they just want to get done what they had come in with a mission. They knew, the mom knew what she had the daughter, she knew what the daughter needed to get, not knowing that they had to fix the acne problem first and get into like scarring or like whatever later on. But then they end up going to other places.
So you need to be a narcissist like me. They told me no problem and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
you need to be like that. You need that. You need to be like, I am that level of perfection.
But also,
I don't need it.
Pakistani, very common Pakistani problem. They think they know everything.
Yes, and the moms. They know everything. The moms know everything.
Yeah, my mom
apparently.
keeps telling me, she's like, "Beta, laser kara lo, sab sahi ho jayega." And I'm like, "What about aftercare?" And she's just like, "Yeah, you'll do it."
Wo
And I'm
dekh
like,
lenge.
"I will not do it. I'm lazy."
I've turned my mom into like a skin monster though. Like
Really?
she's on her regimen but I'm telling you, like, it's made wonders of difference.
It does.
Really
Consistency
does.
makes a
Consistency.
difference.
Like,
Yeah.
give yourself a chance a little bit
Yes.
to like, because your
Yes.
body, me speaking like I'm the doctor sitting here, but I do find that your body responds to you. Like,
course
when
it
you
does.
treat
Of
it
course it does.
nicely. Also,
Yeah.
drinking water, I know people get very annoyed, but it does do wonders.
It does.
He's looking through the window. It scared me.
Okay, so I want to ask about, we were talking about the sponsored content versus
Yes,
like the
yes,
very real
yeah.
content and ethics.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, which we lack.
Yeah, which we generally lack
yeah.
as a nation.
Yeah.
What is where do you draw a line? Because I mean, as an influencer, you kind of have to do sponsored content
Yeah.
also because money.
So with me, I don't endorse skincare products. Like I get emails and messages. I mean, I just work with a one-off brand which I personally know. I mean, either they're like an international brand which has some research and some backing, some evidence to it.
And you do your own research
I do
on
my
it
own
and-
research. Or they're like world-renowned brands that I would work with, which I partner with. Or this other brand that I don't like work with directly, but like I endorse it a lot on my Instagram, is because I know who the owner is. I know exactly what she's doing. I know exactly what the science behind it is. And I know it's the right thing. It's not one of those China se dabbe bhar ke aaye white liquid wale aur wo botloं mein dal diye type situation.
Oh, my next
So for
question
me-
is ready.
Yes. So for me, I don't work with skincare brands. Like I don't work with hair care brands. Also because I think that's kind of a bit of a conflict with the kind of work that I do. So I don't do it, but I see a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
And again, like as I'd mentioned earlier, somebody messaged me 3 days before ke main ye brand kaisa, and 3 days later it's like, oh, I've been using this for 3 months, and I'm just like, you messaged me 3 days ago that
Yeah.
ye product kaisa
Yeah.
hai. But I mean, I draw my line there, but people unfortunately don't, from what I've seen.
I've tried some local brands
Yeah.
recently, and actually one of them has become like part of my
Yeah, they're not
routine.
bad. Some of them are great.
Yeah, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Everything I use, I do send to my dermatologist first, and I'm like, you
There
gotta
you
give
go.
me the yay or nay,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people would be surprised to know. Well, two things that one of them shocks me that people are surprised to know. But number one, a lot of things we see that are like dermatologist #1 recommendation, da 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 da. That doesn't mean a lot.
That means nothing, by the way. That means nothing. Yeah.
Because
I mean, it's
one
just
of those-
packaging, right?
yeah.
People
Yes.
put all kinds of stuff on
Yes.
packaging.
And one of those, and they're also paid, by the way.
Yeah.
Influencing is not a new thing. It's
Yeah.
a very old practice, but because one of the main brands, I'm telling you, everyone and their mothers on it. My dermatologist was like, you need to get off of this
Really?
immediately. Number two, which I want to get your opinion on, because this is something I say a lot to people who talk to me about skin, is I'm like, dude, two people might react completely differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
100%.
And I'm like, your skin's your own thing. Like, it doesn't always mean that because it worked for me and Elhaam are going to have the same results.
It doesn't mean the
It's-
product
it's-
is bad.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's
mean the
not
product
a-
is
It's
bad.
different for every single person.
Yeah.
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 No, I agree. So again, so like retinol, for example. I mean, because that's like the
That's not
buzzword
good.
nowadays, probably. So everybody would respond differently to it. Like there's some people who would use the same retinol and they'd end up with like really dry skin, very irritated skin. They'll end up with a breakout, etc. And there's some people who've been on it for years and they're pretty okay with it. So
Yeah.
it depends on your skin. It depends also like some underlying medical conditions. You know, some people have some skin condition, like somebody might have rosacea, somebody might have like an autoimmune issue, somebody might have PCOS or
Yeah.
anything for that matter. So it varies from
Yeah.
skin to skin and person to person, of course.
Yeah. Another thing that, I mean, before we get into my most fun topic, I wanted to ask about like the South Korean products that are coming in. Like everyone's obsessed.
Yeah.
Like, is it, do people come up to you randomly and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we're using this, we're using that? We're like,
Oh my god! Like I feel like the past 2 months have just been like about Korean products.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I practically know nothing about them because I don't use them. I haven't had the time to like sit because there's so much, and it's become this craze all of a sudden, right?
their
There was this
literature
craze
is
a
in
few
Korean.
years ago.
You can literally not read
So
it.
I can't
feel
read
like-
it. Okay, good. Thank you. That's my excuse now. I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking
So
about.
Yeah.
I think actually what caused the explosion was because TikTok was such an Asian social media
Yes.
platform. When it head to the West, and all these Western people are like, hold up,
What is
their
that?
skin is stunning. Like, what are they doing?
But their skin is stunning.
Genetics, guys.
No, but that's the
that's
thing.
what
And
people miss
diet.
out on,
They
most
are
importantly.
they have such a different diet
Yeah.
to. I mean, honestly, look, I'm American, so my body's probably riddled with it. Like, and I have a lot of health issues because of a lot of that had to do with diet. I got very into Korean skincare, but for me, it was the fact that, strangely enough, guys, Western skincare does not really care about melanated skin.
It doesn't because they don't need to, right?
They don't need to.
They don't have
like,
that themselves. So why would they?
Literally ignore that, like, black people, brown people exist.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, okay, I care about sun protection a lot. I literally, any office I've joined, I've been like, who here doesn't wear sunblock? And I like shout at them because I'm like, we don't know what the sun is doing to us. However, I realized that these Asian skincare brands, because they're
similar to us, right? They're
racist in their own way, they are hell bent against the sun. So that, I think that Korean products, I really actually enjoy them and using them and stuff. But I do meticulous research because I'm like, some brands you actually don't know. A friend recently told me this, that there is a viral Korean skincare brand. It's actually American, but the way they've like product and placed it and influencers, it actually comes from there.
You can tell because then at the back of the box will have English on it.
Yeah,
you
and
know
not
it's
Korean.
not Korean.
Also with Korean skincare, I feel from whatever I've seen so far and the amount of products I've seen in my clinic, bags are nikalte hain. Ye bhi hum use karna. I'm just like, guys, stop please. And there's this 10-step skincare routine everybody has. So a lot is like hydration and like, you know, a lot of that. So I don't think they focus too much on like very aggressive skincare.
No,
it's like
I think it's very muted.
So which is why I feel anybody can possibly use it.
I learned about snail stuff.
Snail mucin.
Recently. And I didn't know about it before.
I'm covered in it.
Yeah, and a friend of mine
My
keeps on
sister
calling it snail mucus. And I'm like, please stop calling it that.
Me, I was calling it that.
Why
I told my
would you
sister
do
sent me
that?
like a little bottle and she was like, you know, you should try it. It's really good. It's like good for your skin. You keep you hydrated. She's really into it, which is why I know about it. Otherwise, she keeps sending me stuff. And I'm like, you literally want me to pick up a snail and rub it? She's like, no, that's not how this works. I'm like, stop
Give it a little squeeze.
I'm like, no.
Ursula underwater.
It was, for me, the concept was just gross, but I understand that
but it's a cool product though.
Yeah,
I mean that's one product that I use in my routine and I like that.
I really like the snail products. I will say though, I keep getting told I'm loud as hell, but apparently not loud enough.
No, you're fine.
That like bean products are the new thing to move into.
Bean as in like bean.
Mixun has this bean essence. So like if you don't like vegans, for example, who don't want to go for snails. However, like and immediately, because one of my friends is very into this. She's actually a dermatologist, and so she's very into like learning about the skincare and this and that. And so when she orders, she'll like let us all know, hey, this is going into like research phase now, and stuff. Legit, she's amazing. Shout out Ushna. And so I was like, damn it, like I just re-upped my snail. I should have gotten my bean. And she was like, stop. This is the consumerism killing you. Like the snail is a good product. You don't need. So like tell us a bit your thoughts on this. The fact that those of us, you know, who have disposable income, obviously, because this stuff is not cheap.
It's not.
Especially in Pakistan.
And it doesn't finish. And they're like big packaging.
Yeah, and then people just keep changing it up, re-upping
I have a colleague here who every month a bunch on skincare. I know because the packages arrive at work and I'm like, again, you
stunning
like
skin.
Stunning skin. She's like, I'm broke now.
No. So that's the thing, right? Consumerism. So like social media will tell you now you need the bean thing.
Yeah.
So now everywhere the snail mucin was all over last year. 2023 was all about the snail. 2024 is all about the bean. But I agree with your friend and I agree with her. If you don't need it, if you have one, finish that and then you move to the next.
Straight up, she was like, calm the hell down.
Or what I actually tell people is get sample sizes if that's what you can do. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really an option in Pakistan because we usually end up getting like full size. But if you can get it, sure. But I always tell people let one thing finish, then get another because how much moisturizer will you put? I mean, I'm sure you can put a lot. You can have dry skin, but how many types of moisturizers can you have? You can have one and just use that 5 times a day if you need it. You don't have to have 5 different ones, right? So always tell people, finish what you have and then buy more. And there's no harm in experimenting. I mean, you'll know if it works for you or not, of course. Yeah. But you won't know it doesn't work for you till you don't use it.
Yeah. How many woke patients come to you? Like, you know, like where they're like, this is
I'm so done with
me
this.
Literally asking all the questions on us.
We're Gen Z, right?
We're millennials.
Okay, I'm done with Gen Z. I swear. Sorry to all the Gen Z in this room, but I think I'm done with Gen Z. No, I'm just looking at them.
If you're born after 81, the ones behind me are all Gen Z.
So Gen Z, I'm looking at them. But no, guys, Gen Z knows too much. They know too much. And I feel they know a lot of there's a lot of misinformation that they know. And I feel they've made science, they've made their own science. And वो खुद science बना ली है, and वो अब science खुद ही समझते हैं वो लोग.
Yeah. I mean, they even have their own language.
They have their own language. There's some Riz kind of situation that's going on.
I gotta say, Riz really bothered me because I was like, dog, charismatic is such a better word.
But
like,
Riz,
genuinely.
every time I would read Riz, I had to Google it. I'm like, what did it mean? I keep forgetting what it means.
And by the way, they're cringing so hard because no one says Riz anymore. The way they're gonna
all over
throw
Instagram.
up.
Yeah, it is.
Keep reading
it.
No,
people
I
are
know.
still.
Hum young look.
People are still using Riz.
say Riz,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, they do. People are still using Riz. Sabah is just. Sabah's gone a notch even lower.
Yeah, I'm
lower
in
than
middle
she's
school.
She's younger than Gen Z also. She's
At my
moved on.
old job when I was 33 and they'd be like, so you're millennial 33. I'm like, no, I'm 33 Gen Z. Like, you have to understand, I ideologically, I'm very with them. Sorry.
Okay, so
what are the, oh, no,
sorry.
go ahead.
The reason I
us
brought
interrupting each other.
The reason
listeners.
I brought the woke thing was how many people come up and they're like, we only want vegan, we want you to just prescribe us vegan products or this product without this, without that. Are like Pakistanis into that? Because I know abroad they are.
So
they're very specific about what they want.
The vegan part, no. Okay. I mean, I'm yet to come across somebody who's had a problem with that. And also, I feel if you're coming to a doctor, people do know that they'll get medicine, right?
Okay.
So for at least like 95% of the chances, the times you will get a medicine, I will give you a medicine, right? I will not go down the Korean skincare route with you.
You're not going to like pull up a website and fill a cart for them.
I'm not going to do that. So the vegan situation, not so much. But jo ye wali baat hai about, oh, I don't want this because this is some, I don't know, harmful medicine. The oral medication that we give, so some people have issues with that. But no, I've never really had that vegan.
God, you tell me I'm getting clear skin. I'm like, you can put any poison in me. I don't
tell people, and I'm like, if I can fix your acne with medication, let me do it. I'm like, okay, bye.
I was a Roaccutane experiment back. I had cystic acne at age 9, by the way, so I've gone through it.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Pakistan between 11 and 13, good job, parents. But because of that, my doctor was like, Roaccutane this child. Changed my life genuinely, but the side effects were wild. But it's also like, what side effects aren't?
Yeah,
but then that's the thing.
Mangoes, apparently the side effect is
I have serious mango side effects. Okay, I'm not even going to lie about
But no,
this.
so that's what I tell people, and I'm like, the side effects. Sure, there are side effects for everything, right? Like even Panadol can potentially give you liver failure for that matter. So it's not like it's one of those things that will kill you. I mean, I've been working for 7 years. I've not had, touch wood, never had a patient who's had a problem with this medicine, except for one person who had to wean off the medicine because he was having some insomnia type situation.
I had insomnia for decades, by the way, so good to know.
Yeah, so again, that's the thing, right? So I don't know if you would like fully blame it on the medicine or not. So people just know too much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of misinformation. They're like, is dawai se ye ho jayega? And I'm like, nahi hoga. But
so then on that topic, because we were talking about what you've seen on social media, what are like the biggest myths or the biggest skincare things you've seen where you're like, oh brother, like that is not real, that is not true, so stop.
So one thing that I came across recently which I found hilarious was that brown skin does not get skin cancer. And I'm like, because we have natural sun protection. I'm like, okay, yes, God gave us some sun protection, but that does not mean that you don't get skin cancer. Like I see, sure, it's not as frequent as what white skin would have, but this was something I came across very recently, and I was just like, do you want to see pictures in my phone of the skin cancer that I see? That destroys your face. But
I've told people this because when I came to this country and I was suddenly like the skin, like the sunblock queen, where I was like yelling at everyone I know that for the love of God wear sunblock. Everyone's immediate reaction was like, oh, you don't want to get tan. And I was like, no, man, they don't study how the sun hits us. And actually, I know 2 aunties abroad who got skin cancer because they were Pakistani and they were driving every day in the car and they didn't once even process that sunblock was.
But growing up, no one ever told us to like wear sunblock. No one ever talked about it. It was
they
never
just
a
said,
conversation.
don't go outside. They were like,
they were coming to that.
Yes.
The major Pakistani problem.
Yes. Rang gora karna.
There we go.
Right?
I was saving it for like.
No, so that's the thing, right? Ki sunblock nahi lagana, but don't go in the dhoop ke kali ho jayenge. Like kala, I feel, sorry guys, but it's like the favorite word in Pakistan.
It's a hot buzzing
It is quite a problem. I'll be honest. It is probably one of the most common. one of the commonest things I see in clinic, and I have a very hard time talking to mums about it, because they bring in their daughters and they're like, iska rang gora kare. They like point to the daughter like, iska rang gora kare, shadi honi hai iske.
What do you want them to do? Dip them in acid or what? Like, you can't peel off a whole layer.
Yeah,
I
but
think if you told them you could, they
would do it.
They probably
would probably
there
do
was
it.
a rumor in my school that some girl got but she became Gora overnight or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did it,
Yeah.
but there was a rumor that, oh yeah, she dipped herself in like some kind of formula of acid and
Is
whatnot.
skin
And I'm like,
bleaching?
no, that's not possible.
I mean, I don't know. Have you heard of mixture wali creams jo hoti hain, like the famous mixture
Yeah,
creams?
yeah.
So that's not acid,
No,
but I mean that is steroid creams, right? That's steroid plus tretinoin plus one of the fairness creams that we get on
Right,
the market,
yeah.
and a couple of other things.
I
And they're
did not
very
know.
famous formulas, and they're very, very famous for this. And you'd be surprised. This is like very educated people coming in and saying, "Ki hum to lagate the," because it is this severe desperation to just become white.
Is
It is
skin
insane.
bleaching real? Like the way that you can actually
Yes,
get it? Because
yes,
okay,
yes.
because I've seen it
Yeah.
a lot. Like because obviously this is also a huge issue in like Africa and Greater South
Yes,
Asia and the
yes.
Middle East, where people with darker skin tones. And I was like, dog, they're trying to trick people. Skin bleaching isn't real. Oh my god.
So, actually skin bleaching, we keep it. So, there's a condition known as vitiligo where you
Yes,
have white
yeah,
spots on your
yeah.
body. So, if let's say your body is covered in about like 90% of vitiligo, like you have 90% white patches and there's like 5% left of normal skin. So, we bleach that area to make you look one.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no way we can give you 95% of your color back.
Yeah.
But that's an autoimmune issue. Very, very, very less chances you'll ever get your skin color
Yeah.
back, especially if you're like 90% white. So we do that 5-10% bleaching for you. But no, people do it. And this happens in Africa, yes, because when I was studying in Cardiff, I had one of my lecturers from Africa. And she said it was a very common thing. She said, pure jale hue bazu and faces, because they would bleach their faces and just to become white. It's a severe problem. And the amount of fights I have in my clinic about this with mums and daughters is insane. But then I also know that I've said no to them. They'll walk out and go to the clinic next door and
Yeah.
still get what they want. But so it's just the mentality that has to shift.
Until
And
I mean, I don't see it shifting anytime soon.
it's
I
not.
mean,
is
It's
just
really
so
not. It's
sad.
not.
because
not.
it's even like you said, even the most educated people will be
yeah,
like
yeah.
will have that bias.
Yeah, and
even
actually
if they
the
don't say it enough, they would
Yeah.
still have that.
And
bias.
actually, the educated people can afford to do all of this. They can afford to get the drips, which cost you about like 10,000 per drip. They can afford to do the medication, which is about like 8,000 rupees per month. They can afford to get the fanciest creams on this planet, get lasers and peels and everything done. So it's actually the more educated one doing this.
And this
more
is
than anything
damaging the
else.
skin, obviously.
course,
yeah.
of
So it's kind of like, by the way, you're gonna age like
Yeah.
rotted raisins.
Also, the other famous thing, glutathione, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, jo gore hone wali injections and all of that. So they're not ruining the skin. It's kind of like the example I give, that if there's a table and you don't clean it, there's dust on it, right? You come and vacuum it, it's clean. That's exactly what glutathione does, right? So it mops up all the dirt and the muck,
Yeah.
right? It gives
Yeah.
you like a cleaner, brighter face for a while. But for how long will you do it?
Yeah.
I
You
think
can't
that's
keep
the
on
thing
doing
I
it. Like,
saw,
it's not a
so, yeah.
permanent thing that you can be doing for life. But then people start doing it without ever knowing when to stop or without even wanting to stop, honestly. They're
but
like,
they
"We'll-"
also don't look real. Like my thing is, it doesn't look like
It does. You look like
skin
Snow
tone.
White. Eventually,
yeah.
you look like this weird Snow White, which not all people do, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people do this for like the past 6-7 years who come to my clinic. They've been doing it for years. They look fairer. They look more glowy because everybody just wants this glow on their face. But they're not white. They're not
No.
white. But they're happy. They're like, kuch to better ho gaya. Kuch to ek
That
tone light ho
bums
gaya.
me out. We actually just did an episode with Trinette Lucas, who
Yeah.
is one of Pakistan's biggest models. Like, honestly, one of the most beautiful women on earth, mashallah. And
She's beautiful.
She is like known because she is probably our darkest model
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of skin tone. And we had a whole conversation about this. How she was saying, like, I'm this model. But I look around in a room and I'm like, so many people look like me, but we just don't view it as beautiful because we're
Yeah.
not exotifying it the way
Yeah.
that she gets
Yes,
treated and
yes.
objectified in that way. And I've also, in my modeling, I fall under the dusky category. And I was telling them, I didn't even know my skin was anything
Yeah.
until I moved to Pakistan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
suddenly I hear about it probably once a day.
Yeah.
That bums me out. That is
Yeah.
so devastating.
No, and imagine if this person was not a model,
Yeah.
her skin would not have been celebrated
No,
at
no,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
She would have been told, and I'm sure before she started modeling, or any dark-skinned person who models or is on camera and is being celebrated for their skin, for being unique, which
Yeah.
they're not, because we're brown.
Yeah.
She kept saying, she was like, they call me exotic, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what
and
does
she's
that term
not
even
exotic.
mean?
That's the
Yeah.
thing, right? There's a lot of influencers now, brown skin influencers who are celebrating being brown. I'm like, you're just like
all of us. She said, she was like, my
Everybody.
cousins all look like me. Like,
And I was like, so you got a lot of hot cousins. That's what I'm hearing. But I also say this. I'm like, if I walk down the street, let's just take us to Pindi, where I'm from.
Yeah.
I look like everyone. I don't think
Of
it's that
course you look like
spicy or
everyone.
interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love looking the way I look, and Pakistanis are hotties. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's the hatred of what is just homegrown. And there are some Pakistanis who are literally red-haired, blue-eyed.
Yeah, but
and
then you won't find.
you know?
But then there also that's geographically
Yeah,
distributed,
exactly. It's
right? Like you
just-
go up north, you will find fairer
Yeah.
skin because they are made slightly different than us. You come down to south, you will find more brown skin,
Yeah.
which is the fact. And same thing in India for that matter.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's
You
the
go to
evolution
south-
to protect us,
to
by the
protect
way.
us, to protect us.
Yeah.
And if you go down south in India also, you will definitely find more darker skin compared to what's up north.
Right.
But that's the thing, right? Like I remember, again, when I was in Cardiff, I had people from India, Philippines, Hong Kong, and a few from the Middle East. It was just us people. Nobody from the European people or nobody from the US or nobody from Australia cared about their skin. Just us from Philippines, Hong Kong, India, and like a couple
South
of the,
Asia.
just South Asia,
Yeah.
basically. We were the only ones who, when the class started about something about like skin lightening, we were the only ones like, okay, bas, this is our time. We need to know what's happening. But that's what they said. They said that's all that happens. That people just want to get white. They just want to get white.
But
They don't
that's
care
the
about
thing,
anything
for
else
you
about
to
skin.
learn about all of that, it's a very common thing. It's probably the most asked question
Yes,
in your
yes,
clinic,
yes,
right?
yeah,
So you
yeah.
kind of have to be prepared to answer
But see,
it.
that's the thing, right? I mean, you can do two things about it. Either you can just like jump into it and be like, "Acha, haan, bas ye dawaiye kha lo," or like I genuinely spend time with those patients trying to convince them, okay, this is not what you should be looking at. Healthy skin is different than like white skin. So I feel like I'm probably like 1% successful and 99% unsuccessful, but at least some success
Yeah.
somewhere.
That's great to
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
there is some success. You've
Yeah,
broken
yeah,
through
yeah.
to at least, even if you like see 100 patients in a day, you've
Yeah.
broken through to like 2 of them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
still
yeah.
a win.
And I feel that's the thing, right? And then they'll go home. Hopefully, if it sticks by them, somebody calls them out for their color, they'll probably speak up for themselves at some point.
Yeah.
Then they'll maybe protect their younger sisters or brothers from it. And
Yeah.
that's how it goes. Because there are patients coming in as young as 6 years old or 7 years old who's, you'd be surprised.
What?
Mums bring them in, कि ये इनको गोरा करना, this and that. And a colleague of mine had a 7-year-old boy patient, like a male patient. And that little 7-year-old boy was on YouTube looking at rang gore karne ki cheezein. And he's sitting at home and he's rubbing atta on himself because he'd been told by his dadi, nani, everybody कि ये तो he doesn't look like the rest and some nonsense of that. So that child had to be sent to like a child psychologist, and like a bunch of things had to happen.
What's wrong with you people?
No, and you'd be
This is-
surprised how common this is.
Oh
This
my
is so
God.
common. This is very,
Look,
very
I'm not
common.
gonna lie.
Traumatic.
This was not a thing in my household growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I never heard it. When we moved to Pakistan,
Yeah, it's a very Pakistani
My
thing.
mom, it was like something turned on, and sorry, mom, but like I kind of was like, wait, why are you suddenly like
Yeah.
putting yourself down?
Yeah.
But when I started assessing the environment a
The
little
environment
bit
and what people say to
she
you.
heard growing up, I was like, my God,
Yeah.
like, and my mom's hot. Okay, so I was just like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
really
This is very
sad.
common, and like mums bring in. So boys have started coming in for this as well, but ladkiyon ka to bahut common hai.
That
Like,
too,
younger
yeah.
girls
But because
is very common.
if she's not Gora, she's rishte nahi aayenge.
Yeah.
Oh
she
yeah,
won't get
this is the
married.
commonest thing.
Yeah.
This is the common. They're like, oh, शादी होनी है या होएगी या रिश्ता आना है.
Yeah.
The other day, I had a message from a patient. I'm in the middle of clinic. Panic messages. पूरी body whitening चाहिए, रिश्ते वाले आ रहे हैं. And I'm just like, man, like, what do you want me to do for you? And like,
And
it's
also
at that
immediately.
point- Oh,
Yeah.
it
We
was
need
urgent.
it like now.
It
so
was
because
urgent.
Sham ko log
I was gonna say they're gonna be here at 5.
The urgency was mad, and I'm like, I'm in clinic, and please pick up my call. And I'm just like, man, I can't do anything for you in like 5 hours. And it's like, okay.
But what do they think? You're like God or something that you're just going to like tweak their like
I don't
their
know,
entire
it's
like physique, and then they'll be
My
like,
parents would be trying to get
gorgeous.
me like a personality transplant. they wouldn't worry
Sham
about
tak log aa rahe, please
they're
change
like,
the personality.
they'd be like, please be a nicer person
till
who
5
talks
PM.
less by 5 p.m. Please. They'd be like, you can look however you want to look, just stop talking.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we started this podcast by talking about me wanting to learn so much more about, and I've
Yes.
asked lots of questions that I had in my heart.
Yeah.
I also want to like slowly kind of end it with like asking you about like a healthy skincare routine for me and for everyone else like me.
I was going to say free consultation, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Like, yeah, yes. Why not? Since we're here.
Yeah. Oh,
we
no,
have
I'm
you.
asking her about this the second These cameras are off.
I think
No, just like
it's-
generally.
yeah,
Like
so-
what's good
like
for
a basic
girls.
skincare
girls,
routine.
guys.
Yeah. So sunscreen, the
Okay.
most important thing, and I think Sabah's played enough her role about like emphasizing her importance on it. कि कितना important sunscreen hai. What people don't understand is it's not like a tiny dot of sunscreen. It's like 2-finger lens, repeated
Oh.
after every 2 hours. See, like
Okay.
the more you know.
Learning things. I
and-
knew this. Relax, Sabah.
I was gonna
and
be like, cut the cameras.
reapplied after every 2 hours, which practically people don't do. But then I tell people, please buy stick sunscreen. Just use that. It's easier.
Okay.
Can go over your makeup and just like figure out a way to do it and just do it, right?
Right.
So sunscreen is the most important thing. As you grow, moisturizer, depending on what your skin type is. So like, if you have dry skin, use like a really thick, creamy one. And the way we kind of go about sunscreen, gels are for dry skin, for oily skin. Then you've got lotions, then you've got creams, and then you have ointments. So like Sabah in winters would probably reach out for an ointment if she needs to, or like a
I have really
thick
oily
cream.
skin, so I would
you'd
go for
want
the gel
do like a
based.
gel or a
Yeah.
lotion, right? So
Alright.
I've got really oily skin. I switch between like a lotion and a cream at night because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
so hot. Lotion in the morning.
Yeah.
So that face wash, again, depending on what your skin type is. If you have really dry skin, do not use an acne product because obviously they're very, very drying. Use something with like more hyaluronic acid, ceramides. Vitamin E actually really helps in hydrating the skin. So, things like this. Salicylic acid, succinic, all of these acids,
Yeah.
minus the hyaluronic acid, usually reserved for oily skin people.
Yeah,
In
my
the
sister
morning,
sent me a bunch.
yeah. So
You need this. I was like, how do you know? You're not a dermatologist.
Then you've got your antioxidants in the day. They fight the sun, the free radicals, and everything. So like a vitamin C, typically, you'd want to add in your morning routine. I always tell people to start with like a low percentage, with like a 6 to 8%, and then you can build it up to like even a 30%, depending on how your skin can tolerate it. And night is where your actives come in, and people love this word actives. So that's all your retinols and all of these acids and stuff. So build your routine slowly. When you reach like let's say your 30s, and retinol is a good thing to add.
Yeah.
Depending on what the skin situation. If you've got acne, then exfoliation with like salicylic acid and stuff is okay. But yeah, so like a basic routine is your cleanser, antioxidant, sunscreen, moisturizer. At night, cleanser, your active, and a moisturizer.
And I'm speaking for other people because I'm very young, but there's never not a good time to start, right? You can't say,
No.
oh, I'm so
No,
old
you
now,
can
like
start
it doesn't
whenever.
matter. You can start whenever.
whenever.
Dude, I started my mom
I was
like
just gonna say that
late
she
50s.
got her mom
Yeah.
to do it.
And it was such a like stunning difference, honestly, that like I gave my khala like a whole list of it. My friend's mom a list of what I thought they could do because I was at 24 I was very I'm toxic on anti-aging and stuff like that. I was very concerned about it because I have PCOS and like I'd lost all my hair, so I was like something's gotta
Something
give,
gotta stay.
and so yeah, it's never too late to take care of yourself. My biggest win, I got my father on sunblock.
No way.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
gardener. And mashallah, great skin. But I was just like, the sun in this country
Yeah.
is going to cook you like a
Yeah.
noodle. Please, just do it for me
Yeah.
on your hands, whatever skin is
Yeah.
exposed. And my other thing I always tell people is my face is from my forehead to my chest.
Yeah.
That gets covered, especially if
Yeah.
you're driving
Yes.
and on the road
Yeah.
and stuff. Like,
Also,
just
people
do
forget
it.
their ears.
Yeah.
That's why I'll just tell
Ah.
people, if you're doing your face and neck, do not forget your ears, because ears are actually the first way that people pick up your age.
Yeah.
So you'll do Botox filler everywhere. Now just telling her that people do fillers in their earlobes as well now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not everybody does it, right? So
The
like,
way I was like, well,
where else can you do it?
Summer's next
Wait,
big
Yeah.
they do Botox in their ears?
Fillers,
What,
fillers.
fillers in their
Fillers.
ears?
Yeah, in the hands also.
Hands,
And you'd be
I've heard
surprised.
of.
It's
Hands, I've
everywhere,
heard
by
of.
the way.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but ears?
Yeah, this is very common. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I'm so excited
It's
about
actually
the
very
hands.
common. Fillers in the earlobes.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
about the basic places that I can see.
You know what's good
But
about
no,
being a
earlobes,
chubby
yes.
person? Being a curvy lady is my hands are already plump. So I was like, people do
Where do you
that.
put them?
Yeah, I'm same.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. But I definitely want to ask you, what's one of your favorite products that you keep on you? Like, it could be anything. It could be something natural. It could be something that you use on a very regular as part of your routine. It could even just be water.
I wish it was
Dehydrated.
water for me, honestly. I'm so bad with water.
Same.
Yeah,
I
no,
love water. I'm sorry.
I'm terrible.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
better than everyone sitting here. Sorry.
It would definitely be a moisturizer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would say sunscreen, yes, but like sunscreen's number 2 for me. Like I use it. I'm sorry, I use it.
Yeah, we're all we're also scared now.
I'm so stressed sitting next to her. She doesn't know how to
Good.
apply it. So,
Good. That's the
but
impact
no, moisturizer for sure.
Okay,
Moisturizer
awesome.
for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
don't skip it,
And you don't skip it.
even on a tough morning.
Stop
Yes.
looking right at me.
The way
I know
every
I'm
point
messed
you've
up
made,
today.
I've been glaring at her.
The
like,
one day we had her on, I forget to put some on. And Sabah gave me hell for it this morning. All right, great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much
Thank
for
you so
doing
much for
this.
having
This
me.
was
Thank you.
very enlightening for
It
me.
was fun.
yeah, I had a
And
blast.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
And it went by really quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been talking for ages, but we actually haven't. Or the other
And
way.
now you are going to assess my breakouts as soon as the camera comes. Thank you so much.
Where
you so
can
much for
people
having
find
me.
you
Yeah.
though? Like where can people find you? We put those things
So
on the screen for you.
on Instagram, that goes by InYourFaceMaleeha, and I work at NMC Hospital, and I work at this clinic called R5 Aesthetics and Healthcare, and my timings are, I mean, I'm Monday to Saturday.
Oh,
so if you
awesome,
go on my
okay.
Instagram, you'll know what my timings
Great,
are.
and you do a
Yeah.
lot of like live sessions and stuff.
I
as
do.
well,
Yeah, I
like, what do you-
enjoy all of
I mean,
this
I enjoyed learning
fun
so much
situation.
from you,
Yeah, I'm
so I'm
glad.
sure other people are going to
Yeah,
log
so
on, subscribe, share, whatever, do all of that. All right, cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for
We
having
talked
me.
about it. Woo!